Hello, you're very welcome along to another live episode of the Tackling Sport podcast and Premier League fan predictions. And it's Daniel here, joined alongside me by my brother Sean.
How's it going?
And reigning champ and Arsenal fan, because we don't have enough Arsenal fans in the podcast. It's Brian Murphy. You finally defeated Shane Sexton. Brian, welcome to the podcast and well done.
A pleasure to come back. Shane, we're all thinking of you here. Sure you're tuning in. I just want to say fantastic job the last 7 weeks and we all missed you, but it's time to move on. And yeah, pleasure to come back, lads. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Brian, honestly. And we're taking you on with Chelsea fan and a good mate of yours, Rob Phillips. Rob, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going, lads? Cheers for having me on. Big boost to Phil for Sexton now that he's gone missing, so I'll have to just stand up against the Gunners. Different colour London, we'll see how that gets on.
Yeah, the missing person looking for Shane. But before we get into the Premier League fan predictions, lads, Brian, maybe go to you first just on the Super League and the European Super League, which is obviously everyone's talking about. And maybe from an Arsenal perspective, for those that aren't aware, there's actually going to be a protest on Friday for Kroenke out off the back of all this, I guess.
Yeah, and fair play to everyone's gone to that. I wish I could lend my voice to that big thing. Yeah, look, I mean, the whole thing's an absolute joke. You look at it, and you think about those couple of days, Sunday, Monday, reading that statement from Arsenal Sunday night, I honestly felt like it was an out-of-body experience reading that. I couldn't actually come to terms with what I was looking at. I just sat there for a few minutes taking in what I was trying to understand. And obviously it was such a vaguely written statement like that. And then the follow on that from that whole Monday was just an insane couple of days. You look at it and you think, obviously, you echo everything that's been said in the kind of football world around it and how just terribly done and how just greedy and everything like that it was. But aside from that, it's just so poorly executed and it's just so embarrassing to look at. These lads who are in the biggest jobs in football, owning the biggest clubs in the world, managed to do it that badly, and you just have to wonder how these lads get to these jobs and how they can run clubs as well. In some cases, poorly as they do, or in some cases as well as they do. Definitely, I'd imagine looking from what they're trying to do, it had to be in the American hours. You look at Stan Kroenke, FSG as Liverpool, and the Glazers, they're 100% spearheading that. And I'd say Abramovich and the lads just got it through on because they're don't leave us behind. And in Josh Kroenke speaking to an Arsenal forum today, he was saying they kind of hopped on board, but I wouldn't believe a word though. I'd say they were in there trying to get Arsenal involved in this big competition. But look, it's all falling apart, and we're back on track. But a crazy couple of days.
Yeah, and it was obviously led, I guess, in one way, Rob, by Chelsea. And Chelsea get a poor press, not just in the media now and tackling sport at times. I have to be honest with you. So it probably was nice, and maybe I was proud of Chelsea anyway, seeing those protests.
But yeah, the images coming out from outside Stamford Bridge on Tuesday, it was great to see. There's obviously Sean Keaton and Jack Flynn, two of the other Chelsea fans. They're sending in sort of Instagram pages, CFC away days, stuff like that, and it's proper. It was like a big game feel outside. Some of the videos that are coming out, and the images of Czech confronting, standing up to the fans, just saying listen, let the bus in, and we're gonna sort this out. We're gonna sort it. Obviously, you knew early doors there was Chelsea are a great club. They are indeed. First cowards to fall, I suppose. But yeah, you knew early doors. There was nothing really in it. Especially Chelsea and City, Abramovich, the Sheikh Mansour. I don't really know. There's no positives to gain from them, from these billions of euro that are being pumped into it. They're already far and away the richest. So don't think they definitely weren't driving forces anyway. So once there's a bit of backlash, it was almost there's an opportunity there to say we can get a bit of good press out of this. So jumped at the chance, and thankfully all the other dominoes fell after that.
Yeah, well, past champion Shane's had a pop there saying that Chelsea bus went straight onto the pitch in their 0-0 draw, Rob. But we'll come to that maybe when talking to Chelsea. Sean, quick word. I think the lads kind of summed it up pretty well there, to be fair. A good kind of summary of what really happened, and the fact Chelsea City didn't really need this, and they don't really need the money. But just look at their spending this summer, for example.
Yeah, like when I saw the check image of him talking to the fans, I kind of knew it was gonna fall. I didn't like everyone think it would fall within 2 days. It actually is a bit bizarre when you think about it, how these multimillionaires who, obviously not all of them are born rich. Some of them have to, create big businesses and they end up like that. It's crumbling in 2 days. But I think it was probably largely down to the UK government's response, because that ultimately the fans will eventually calm down. But I think it was more the government. So like I don't know. It's just interesting when it happened so quick. I think you're right about Chelsea City. I don't think they needed it, but they're still a part of it. I'd imagine, obviously, there's a lot of stuff coming out about Ed Woodward's claiming his innocence, and obviously Arsenal have come out today claiming their innocence, and there's photos going back a while ago of John W. Henry, Ed Woodward, and Ivan Gazidis, who was Arsenal chief executive for a number of years now at AC Milan. So I'm putting two and two together. I'm wondering, did Ivan Gazidis have a falling out with Arsenal over it, or did he go to Milan to try and appease it? It's just bizarre. And then you have Florentino Perez come on the telly in Spain, and I thought that was unbelievable. Then and that was Monday night, and I went to bed thinking, "Geez, this fella's like, he's serious here. This is like bizarre." And he just kind of morphed into Donald Trump over the last couple of days, and it eventually kind of all got resolved, but not without its problems. And obviously UEFA put through the new Champions League proposal, and people are going to turn to that. But I think it just hammered home that wherever you are in the world, that there are these people in football. We're not immune to it here in Ireland. In the clubs that, Waterford have a massive issue at the moment. With Kevin Sheedy, there's a lot of statements coming out saying that he resigned, or a lot of rumours, and he hasn't. And obviously we've John Delaney, so it's everywhere. Like football is just it's mad. It's like no other sport really, where there's just different things happening so quickly, and like it's just, I'm not sure what will come out, but I don't think they'll get through fan ownership. I think they'll have a lot more tighter control, because these guys are multi-millionaires and billionaires in some cases.
Yeah, well, I guess like if maybe looking at it too simplicity, but I just think fans didn't realize the power they have, and maybe this is kind of shown. And we touched on off air, like Brian, a couple of your mates are going to the Kroenke out protest tomorrow, and maybe just a quick word on that before we get into the Premier League fan predictions. Like Kroenke's kind of managed, there's been Kroenke out protests, but I don't think it's been anything of this nature really. And this could literally kind of kickstart like a domino effect to maybe fans having more of a voice. Like take, for example, for those unaware, Arsenal had a fan supporters trust meeting with Josh Kroenke there, so the Arsenal director.
Yeah, I mean, ideally you'd hope to think so. I mean, I wonder if anything will come of it. I think it's at 6 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. tomorrow out in London before the match that night. So, yeah, look, you'd like to think in an ideal world that they'll start panicking and, feel, obviously, I think they 100% definitely feel guilty, whether they'll, as a result, help the club out a bit more than they have been doing in the coming years and months. I mean, I doubt it, but they're going to have to feel somewhat guilty, and hopefully that works. But in the sense of the fans getting their ownership and stuff like that, I just doubt it. And these massive billionaire people that could just say what they want, they're so perfect in terms of their statements. Everything's so, crystal perfect in what they're saying. So it's hard, I think, to overturn people like that. Yeah, Kroenke out indeed, but I really don't know. I obviously hope, there'll be some change, but I just think it's almost too far gone, and the next owner of the club will be a similar billionaire. But in fairness, in the fan forum today, you got roasted. Like the question was just calling Josh Kroenke out for just being a fraud and just like having absolutely no interest in the club. And like whatever about Stan, he's just an old codger. Like he doesn't know what he's doing anymore. But you expect a bit more from Josh to come down and be more interactive and more of that fan forum stuff. You'd like to see it, but yeah, I don't know. But hopefully there'll be some backlash from the protest tomorrow. But I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and just on that, like the supporters trust said, you do not understand English football, you do not interact with fans, you have no clue. English football is clearly not for you. You should leave. And I guess that even interaction, you're like you said, you got a bit of a roast, and I almost felt a bit bad. But as Brian says, they're green and gold to the club of soul, lads. You're saying that in 2005. and your club's still not for sale. But before I get into that and take on all the commenters here, let's go on to Premier League fan predictions, and we're gonna maybe start with you. We'll always start with the champion there, Brian. And the first game it's going to be Arsenal versus Everton, and we've actually got a Friday night game, which is a bit of a change really, because we don't Europa League every year. It's very hard to get picked for a Friday night game, I guess.
I know. I can't remember the last FNF Arsenal have had now in quite a while.
We've there's a stat. I was listening to a show today. I think it's Arsenal played in 4 Friday night games, or maybe 9, and we haven't lost them one on a Friday night in the Premier League era. And I think obviously 2 of them were back-to-back Fridays, and it was Arsenal against Liverpool on Good Friday in the Invincible year, and then Arsenal against Leeds the following week, and Everton are playing back-to-back Fridays. So there's a little stat for you. I was listening to something else.
Yeah, I mean, the 1 week we're not playing on a Thursday, they took us in on a Friday, so fair play to them. But yeah, Arsenal obviously in bits of like the injuries and stuff this season or this week. So I'd ideally get Odegaard back, and everything's fine with Smith Rowe and stuff like that. But if it's Eddie and Kedia starting up front, then I can't see them getting many goals against Everton. Albeit Everton are, hurt themselves with injuries. I just think, I don't know, I can't see Arsenal winning it. So I went for just the basic 1-1 draw. I was thinking of the Desmond, but I didn't think Arsenal get 2 goals. They'll be sloppy. I could see maybe Everton nicking it, but I think we'll go 1-1. I'm just getting nightmares. That Fulham match was just, it obviously should have won the game. The whole VAR thing was just an absolute farce. But looking at the players, you start on any ahead of Party, and I know you have to get Party a rest and stuff like that, but you see that clip and then he going backwards and Smith Rowe's going, you just can't look at that and have any, it's just that's so depressing at times. You wonder about the squad and stuff like that. You feel down after those moments. But Everton are fairly poor, so hope for a draw at the best. I think just take it out.
Well, I'm surprised at that, Brian. You keep the faith and then straight away 1-1 draw. Rob, if Brian is going to pick an Arsenal draw, surely I can't see you going for an Arsenal win here.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be up against it from the start here. I might have to fight a case against an Arsenal win. So I was kind of thinking of 1-1 initially myself, but might as well go gung ho and say that the Toffees are going to get an away win. If an Arsenal man is picking an Arsenal win, I'm not going for a draw with him. But yeah, I was looking at it, watching earlier Ancelotti's press conference, and I know he was speaking fairly passionately about the Super League, calling it a joke, all this sort of thing, when it's kind of a bit laughable as well. I'd say any given moments he could have been at Real Madrid or Milan or any of these clubs. So you'd wonder what his opinion would be then. But I don't know, I haven't been too impressed with Everton this year, but Calvert-Lewin's back, I think this week he was saying that as well. And I don't know, Arsenal are struggling with injuries. Don't really see, I can't give Arsenal much of a case. So if Brian's going 1-1, I'll go 2-1 Everton and
2-1.
see how we go from there.
2-1 Everton, Sean. I was kind of confident in this match before the 2 lads spoke. A few good points there. Calvert-Lewin, actually, just on that and his form, is there any case that he could potentially drop out of the England squad, or is he guaranteed, say Harry Kane's fit, or is he guaranteed in that number 2?
No, I think he's guaranteed. I think because he's different to every other English striker. He's kind of an old-fashioned number 9, someone who can hold the ball up well. Everton have a really poor record at the Emirates, and also before then a hybrid. I think their last win was 1995, I think, and they haven't done the league double over Arsenal since 85. So the odds are against them. But Carlo Ancelotti, obviously, they've been really good away from home, and they've got a few of their big hitters back. Arsenal are a little bit of form missing, and Everton need a push. Everton have 1-6. I think they've had 3 draws in a row, so they're under massive pressure. So I think it could be a cagey enough game. I think 1-1 is probably not far off it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's, pretty kind of disappointing start for Arsenal. We'll go to you, Rob, then. Sometimes we do Premier League predictions and we've got the really bad games to start with. It seems like we have the big kind of teams, and then, Arsenal, Chelsea coming up, but Liverpool at home to Newcastle. Love to get your take on Liverpool. Is it a case of, behind closed doors and Van Dijk injury has resulted in all these bad results, or is it the case that there's something a lot more bigger happening and it's just the end of the cycle for the Liverpool team?
I think that's kind of could be the root of the Super League itself. Same, we're starting with the big teams. Arsenal playing Friday night. I don't see a big team playing there, but Liverpool, like it's been said a lot, like in the media, that it's gotten like almost boring, or it's out of fashion to just keep saying like, listen, Van Dijk's injured. The injuries they've had at centre half, like you see the teams get injuries, obviously. How concentrated it's been with him and Gomez, Matip's, he's injured every other week, but when he's like coming in then as your first choice, and you can't rely on him for any given length of time. And then Fabinho went in a centre half, Henderson went in a centre half, just like they were falling like flies. But obviously, like you're looking at the front three as well. Like I know Firmino last year, they get like Wilson right there, Firmino. I don't know if I would have been too keen on that, but like I was a big fan of Firmino. But even last year, like he was going in the wrong direction. He was trending in the wrong direction. And when like Mane's not clicking this year, like a lot of the weight's falling on Salah. But like I still think, like if you got that squad back together next year, they'd probably have one more decent run at the title. But then it is like the end of the cycle as well. Like it could be that year too far. Like they might have won back-to-back leagues, and then that could have been the end of the cycle. So it could be a stretch next year. But I'd give them a chance. If Van Dijk got back and he was any shade at the player that he was before, like that makes such a difference. Like you look at the difference he made when he came in first time around. But Newcastle rather, like they got a big win against West Ham, and I don't know if that has them safe. Like, could argue that has them safe. So I think Liverpool have more to play for this week. But I've gone 2. It's 2-1 again. Actually, 2-1 home win Liverpool. I was gonna go 1-1, but I think Liverpool have more to play for than Newcastle, so I'll go 2-1.
Yeah, Brian, all the Liverpool fans are chiming in the comments, Jota Player of the Year 2022, that sort of thing. Rob saying they have one more go at the title next year. Your brothers are massive Liverpool fans. Do they have a chance of it? Maybe forget this season. Let's just focus on Liverpool next season. Everyone back, fans in the stadium. Are Liverpool, second favourites behind City for the title?
I'd say yeah. Like if you go full fans in the stadium, whereas Van Dijk goes a full season when injured, and they keep the squad they have now, when Alvin signs on and everything like that, maybe bring a few extra just back up and stuff. You have to think they'd be able to go again. Like they were just so terrible this year, and like you have to there's obviously a lot of mitigating factors for that and everything like that. But yeah, I'd say they go again next year. Yeah, why not? Like if Jurgen stays, he's all happy now. The Super League's over, so like. And then the FSG might pump some sack cash into them now, and they go on and get some good players. And like if Salah, like if one of the front three leaves, like up to the end of the world, like maybe you pass on Firmino, the best defending striker in the world, but like you might need a backup there. And I think Divock he's heading off, so there could be some good signs coming in. So yeah, I'll give him one more year, and then maybe the decline will be. We come after that, but one more season for Liverpool, I'd say.
Absolutely. And then again, home against Newcastle, what are you thinking score-wise?
I've gone for my first Desmond of the week. I just think,
yes,
like I had to come out early, but like Newcastle, like what a win against West Ham. I know I said Craig Dawson would expose himself, and he did indeed. That tackle was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. That's taking it. So look, great win for them. Joe Willock taking away the Desmond from me, but. Like massive, like that's them all but safe now. Like you have to think. So in a way, the shackles might come off, or they could, not bother as much and maybe not go for it as much. But I think, they'd probably just go for it. Like Liverpool have to go out and win it. They were like average enough against Leeds. Like they're not in their best phase at the moment. So yeah, we'll go Joe Willock brace and Desmond kicks off on Saturday morning.
Absolutely love it, Desmond. Sean.
Steve Bruce has found something out of the players recently.
Here we go now. The Steve Bruce. No. You were off that bandwagon for weeks, and now it's popular again. Brian gave him a shout out.
It's popular now. I think Liverpool. It'll be interesting to see, because I thought they handled the game pretty well against Leeds, and obviously they're just missing something at the minute. I think a real worry for them is Alisson. I think a couple of times Alisson, he just doesn't look as strong as maybe he once was. He made a couple of big saves, but just not as commanding as I thought. he has been, and I think those probably 1 or 2% that have kind of stopped them a little bit this year. I don't think they'll be. I think they'll be second favourites, but I don't think they'll be massively clear second favourites. I think with the squad Chelsea have in the summer, you'd expect Tuchel to get a bit of work into them. And United, I think it won't be as clear as it has been the last couple of years. And City, you'd imagine, will go again in the summer and probably buy a few players. But no, I think Liverpool will win this. But I think definitely one thing to worry for them is, and maybe one thing to look out for, Harvey Elliott has kind of gone in a little bit of a dip, but he's come back pretty well recently for Blackburn. Scored a goal last weekend, and it'd be interesting to see what they do with him, because that's something that I've said a few times. Liverpool haven't really incorporated any of their younger players, especially into that attacking line. There's been people like Ben Woodward in the past, scored at 17 for Wales, has been plagued by injuries recently. He will never play at that level for Liverpool. Harry Wilson's on loan at Cardiff, hasn't played a Premier League game for Liverpool, I think maybe one. So that's definitely something where United, Chelsea, Arsenal, City have got the advantage on them, because City have Foden, Chelsea have Mount, Arsenal, Saka, United, Rashford, Greenwood, and it can change a whole team, and you can kind of build a team around them. And Liverpool don't really have someone at that young age coming through, so I definitely think it'd be interesting to see what they do with Harvey Elliott next year.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Let's go to you, Rob, and maybe, so it's West Ham versus Chelsea, 5:30 kickoff, but Patrick O'Keefe has a comment in here for those listening on the podcast. Ask Phil for booking and shots on target tips for this weekend. So where better to start than your own Chelsea match?
Well, geez, if we're talking bookings, then Jorginho is the man in form. Made a few quid off him last night, 5-1 shot. I'll have a snoop around, and I'll come back to you with a few tips. But yeah, for this game, like, after all the talk of the Super League, like, you can go in on Arsenal and Spurs for their inclusion, but like Chelsea as well as like third team in London, and West Ham look like they could finish above a lot of them. Like Moisey, I'll give the Shane Sexton shout out to the secret agent Jay Lings as well. But yeah, like I think this week, like, it seems to Tuchel, like, since he's come in, like, seems to be able to deal with these big games. Like, and there's the stats going around. I think he's come up against, what was it, Pep, Klopp, Simeone, Jose or something, and he hasn't conceded. Like, there's something along those lines. So calling West Ham away, a big game. Shows what's going on at the club at the moment. But I think he can produce one of those clean sheets. I've gone for 2-0. But yeah, I've liked him since he come in. Like, it was obviously a bit touchy after Lampard getting sacked, so I was immediately Tuchel out. But he's won me over. He's a bit of a weirdo, but I think he's a bit of he's a charming weirdo. So he's won me over. So Tuchel in. 2-0 Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea. Brian.
Went for another away win myself, so 2-1 Chelsea. I just think similar enough to Rob, but like Hammer is like disappointing. Obviously that match against Newcastle, like, but I mean they're missing a few injuries. Craig Dawson's out with his match ban. He'll be missing, so that might go. I mean, I think Cresswell's still out. Declan Rice as well. So like. Yeah, and Antonio, he might be back, but like if he's not, they're missing those three lads and Craig Dawson. I can't see them win in the match. Obviously, they have secret agent Jay Lings, but I don't know if he's going to do enough to beat them. I think the reverse game was a 3-0, I think, at the Bridge, and like West Ham were terrible that day. The way Moisey set them up that day was just terrible to see. Moisey, usually he's known for his nice tackle football, so that was disappointing. But yeah, I think just boring Tuchel will do the job and just play around the back the whole game and just get 2 goals, maybe from a corner. Curtis Aylmer get up and get one, and I think it'd be another terrible Chelsea match. But yeah, 2-1 Chelsea, and yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, there doesn't seem as much excitement about secret agent Jay Ling. Sean, are you, in Shane's absence, going to give him a bit of a shout out?
It'll be interesting to see what way Moisey has them, because when they, the worst performance, one of them I've seen was them at Old Trafford a couple of times in the cup and in the league, and they didn't have Lingard. So I think if they have Lingard fit and firing, and obviously he's still pushing for that England squad. I do think you're right, though. The lads are right. I think Chelsea can control the game well. With Tuchel, David Moyes was at Stamford Bridge the other night. So no, he's big on changing the way he plays for opposition. But I think Chelsea should have enough for this. And obviously West Ham have shown their first big kind of crack. And I know he'll be pushing on them to get a point, because there is teams coming behind them, and Chelsea drop points in the week. Liverpool drop points in the week. Arsenal. So I think there is a big chance for West Ham here to get top four, and it'd be interesting to see if they are aggressive and if they set up well to try and get at Chelsea. Because the one thing I would say about this Chelsea defence is I'm pretty sceptical about them with balls in behind. I go back, Bamford scored one against Leeds early on, where it's just that kind of rake and pass down the side of the defenders, and it's what Chelsea do pretty well to teams. And I just think if West Ham can get Lingard kind of isolated in behind them, I think they have a real chance of causing damage. But Declan Rice, I think, is a massive miss as well for West Ham in midfield, and that could be big.
Yeah, not to get too sidetracked, Rob. Do you miss Frank and that €50? What was the €50 bet, Rob?
It was literally his Lampard to last the season. And,
Jesus.
The less said about it, the better. There's enough heartache. I think I held off about a month before I paid Sam. I was just that bitter about it. I was like, let me mourn for a bit, and then had to pay the man. So I think I miss Frank more than the 50 quid, but yeah.
And Sean, because you kind of have a theory that he could have potentially still be in the job with fans, but like he's obviously
if you listen to the protest, they were all singing Super Frank.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was sort of like a thing to just anti ESL that an English manager would never have agreed to this. They're singing his name.
There's pictures of him at the protest. There's a couple of lads put up pictures with him. Like, I don't know if it was the case he was passing Fulham Road and he got into a picture and wanted to get a bit of press, but it might have been right in amongst it. I know Jack Wilshere is supposed to be turning up tomorrow by all accounts at the Emirates, so maybe Frank was trailblazing in that respect as well.
Well, listen, we'll go Sheffield United Brighton to pick it up. We're going to go Brian for this one. It's 8 o'clock Saturday kickoff as opposed to 3 o'clock. What's the thinking there? Like, we just focus on the kickoff here. 8 o'clock on Saturday.
Who is sitting down at 8 o'clock on Saturday and watching this match? Fair play. It won't be a barnstormer. Like, it just can't be. Brighton, I think they're back-to-back nil-alls coming into this, so they're obviously steadied up a bit at the back, but missed that free flowing attacking football. They should have beaten Chelsea. Well, just needs to tuck that away, and Milan are missing the sitter as well. So yeah, I mean, they should have won that match, but yeah, they're definitely a bit more pragmatic, I think, these days. And like Sheffield United, as I said last week, just a disgrace to the league at this point, and they're finally gone, which is beautiful to see. So I mean, they can just go out and do what they want, and I just think Brighton must be too good. I went for 2-0 Brighton. I can't see Sheffield United scoring goals. That was 7 strikers out in their squad. They're all useless for the goals. So yeah, 2-0. Yeah.
I zoomed in on Sean. That was on purpose, zooming in on Sean's reaction to Sheffield United. But we'll get to you in a sec, Sean. Well, go on. Do you want to defend disgrace of the club?
How are they expected to win when Ollie McBarney goes down with an injury? Oh, I know.
What's that?
No. He scored against Chelsea after the restart. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I don't think many of them have scored. Billy Sharp scored a couple. That was it.
McGoldrick got a screamer, yeah. But we'll go to you, Rob. I guess Brian kind of got a lot of people giving me feedback about Brian's disgraceful Sheffield United. I think he spoke to the people when he said that. I think people were secretly just pissed off with Sheffield United over the season. But what's your thoughts on them and then Brighton?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty sorry season from Sheffield United. Obviously they had that derby record in their sights for a good chunk of the season and eventually scraped past 11 points. But yeah, the point he's making about the 4 strikers, it's kind of is like clockwork. It was almost like the Maurizio Sarri after 60 minutes take off Kovacic, bring on Barkley, or vice versa, rinse and repeat. Start Didsey and Billy Sharp. They don't score for 60 minutes. Bring them off. Bring on McBurney and whoever the fourth fella is. Is that irrelevant? Ollie Burke, yeah. Yeah, like I wouldn't go as far as to call them the disgraceful club, because obviously, like it was great watching them last season. Like it was like watching Jack O'Connell overlapping down the wing from centre half and stuff like that. Like it was fairly mad to see it. Like I know 3 at the back's been done, but the way in which he set up, and it kind of was. It was just that shock factor for a year. Nobody's seeing this. They're like, what are we watching? After it'd been so successful for them in the Championship, and then they just got found out and just didn't have the talent. Like if you're looking at, if you traded in those 4, like I love Didsey with all my heart, so you can keep him, but trade in the other 3 and get them a Callum Wilson. Like you can look at that and say Newcastle are staying up because they had Callum Wilson fit half the season. Like I think he might have got into double digit. Like he has 9 or 10 goals. Like when you're scrapping there down the bottom, you just need someone that'll put the ball in the net. And you look at that Sheffield United team, like where are the goals going to come from? Like having said that, like on opposite end of the spectrum, then it's Brighton, and I think they're great to watch under Potter. Yeah, they can't put the ball in the net either. So I've gone 0-0. After all that, I don't think it's going to be one to watch. In the box office slot, this kind of chimes in like one of those games that Sky were charging 15 quid a go for box office, and nobody would pay a penny. So I wouldn't imagine there'll be too many eyes on this, and it's not going to be too much entertainment anyway.
Yeah, Sean, I'll give you enough hard time over Sheffield United. I'll give you a small bit of credit. You did say Ryan Brewster. You didn't understand that signing at all.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I didn't really get it either. But there are players who've done pretty well in the Championship. Like Ollie McBurney scored a few goals in the Championship, and well, hopefully they can do it next year for them. God knows who they're going to get in as manager. I mean, they're thinking of Jokanovic that got Fulham promoted to the Premier League a couple of years ago. But I mean, you're going to have to rip up what Chris Wilder's done for 5 years and go again, and it's not easy to do that. Clubs have struggled. I'm really worried for Sheffield United because they could very easily go down to League One. The Championship's an extremely competitive league. Like Derby are really struggling to stay up now this year, and it's probably only that there is 2 or 3 teams worse than them. So I would worry for Sheffield United. On the other hand, Brighton, I agree with the lads. I think they've been brilliant. I think the problem is they're going to have to try and buy a striker, but every club in the world will now Brighton need a striker, so they're going to bump up the fee by another 10, 15, 20 million. So God knows who they'll end up with. They should probably get Glenn Murray back or a Joa, guys who scored in the Premier League. But because I don't know who they'll end up with, but it's obvious that they need need a striker. But yeah, I think you're right. I think this game could be one to miss. The problem is there's no Championship to supplement it or watch either, so I don't know what to do Saturday night.
I have a funny feeling you'll suffer through it, Sean. Will you? Honestly,
is it on Sky, is it?
I presume at 8 o'clock Saturday usually is.
I probably will watch them.
Jeez, you can report back to us next Thursday anyway. I won't be watching. Genuinely. Wolves, Burnley. Jeez, it doesn't get that's harsh in Burnley. So we should stop giving them a hard time. Brian, Wolves, Burnley. Sell us the dream. Why am I getting up early, getting the breakfast all in so I can sit down and watch BT Sport 12 o'clock? Wolves, Burnley.
Is it 12 o'clock? Yeah, or Keanu. Get Keanu on the mic. Talking absolutely arse. He's better than getting him an arse match. Throw anywhere, bar an arse match. Actually, not that bad. So another cracker here. Like you finish your Saturday night, wake up to this. It's not exactly what you want, but we saw William Jose got his goal last week, so that was good, I think, for him. Wolves are just mid-table. Like at the end of the day, they have nothing really to play for. And Burnley and bit like that, as we're talking about, getting dragged into it a bit now. So we'll see. Like I think it's the type of game that Sean Dyche just loves and can just go out and win that. And they're the games that keep Burnley, where they are. I was getting that 40, 45 point mark every year. So I think they'll go out and win it. They won their verse, I think, start of the season for the season. And I'll go for a 1-0 Burnley away win. I think Wolves will just be a bit sloppy and something. Chris would get his head on the corner, and good times in not Turf Moor, it's in a Molyneux. So Burnley 1-0.
Yeah, like I know that the games are really bad, but you lads aren't building them up either. But though Aaron does say, Rob, that he'll be streaming mass Sunday morning in their house anyway.
I'd get up for a 10 o'clock mass, and I'd probably stick the replay of it on at 12. Then I realized when I was going through the fixtures that I wasn't really coming on to pitch much entertainment this weekend. I think we kind of got enough from Sunday through to today with Florentino Perez and his circus. So I can't see any goals in this again. I'm going 0-0 again.
Oh shit! Oh. Sorry, I kicked you off, Rob. There, carry on.
I wasn't sure if I was rumbling to myself, but I was just saying, like, you look at the side the Wolves were last year, and they were kind of trending in the wrong direction, but they still had like Jimenez and Jota. Like, I know Jimenez is an injury, and Jota they sold, but like I'd say straight away you've taken 25 goals out of the team, 25 easily last year. So like you take them out of the team, and this is what you're left with. But now that I actually Pedro Neto that they brought in, I think he's great to watch. It's kind of just leaving him in isolation. They have good players, but they don't have an out and out goal scorer now. I don't like William Jose. There's big talk from him. He obviously got his goal, but I don't know if he's really the solution. I know it's just a stopgap until you get Jimenez back, but yeah, I just can't see them scoring. And like Burnley, I actually thought the second half of the United Burnley game last week was entertaining. They gave United a good go, but I don't know, Wood knockdowns of Vidra. I'm using all the Sexton go to is just to try talk myself into a win, but I'm gonna stick with 0-0. 0-0, 2 back-to-back 0-0s. I think later on Sunday it'll be more entertaining, but 0-0 for the time being.
Yeah, I was trying to zoom out there, Rob, and I kicked you out by accident, and I just went full panic mode there. Just producing while being on air is actually quite tough. Sean, like the lads have predicted 3 goals in the last 2 games. So, if you take like 180 minutes each, so that's 3 goals in 360 minutes, if that makes any sense. Can you sell this game to us? There's got to be a couple of goals. Are we all back in the unders then on Sunday morning?
Well, it's an interesting one because where my fantasy league Premier League team is gone, it's kind of, I've given up on it now. I was doing well. I was in the top. I think I got to 12. I went all in on Burnley, keeping clean sheets. I went all in on them. They kept a clean sheet against West Brom 0-0, which they shouldn't have. And I was like, this is brilliant. 6 points, unbelievable. And they haven't kept a clean sheet in 7 games. They've conceded 4 against Spurs. Then they've conceded 1 in every game. Then 3 against Southampton, 3 against United. So, they've ended my fantasy football. I
have no sympathy for you, to be honest. You're trying to cheat the system.
I went all in.
That's a brave call there.
Yeah.
I went all in on Burnley, but these are decisions you live by, and now I've about 4 reds and 3 yellows. I'm just looking at my fancy team here, so I'm in a bit of trouble. But anyway, Burnley they've been a bit more open, but they've been really poor defensively recently. I actually thought they played pretty well against United. God, I haven't watched Wolves in a good while. I kind of said it a while ago. I don't really get much out of watching Wolves. I don't think you kind of get excited too much. And they always seem to play an evening. They always seem to be like, I know everyone's on telly, but they always seem to be like an evening game where you're kind of looking forward to a match. And then you see Wolves and you're like, oh, I'm not too pushed about it. But I think, I actually think there could be goals in this. I think it could be a Desmond.
Oh, Desmond too.
Leeds might get good odds on that.
Right.
Yeah, there you are. Leeds, Manchester United, lads. There has to be more goals than this. Rob, take it away.
So I've got goals coming here. Obviously, there's United gave them a hiding in the reverse fixture. But I think of all the teams, like what Sean was saying there, when you see Wolves are on, you're like, I'll give it a miss. If you see Leeds are on, you're like, all right, I'll sit down, I'll watch the 90 of this gladly. I know it's nearly gotten to the stage where they're being overpraised. Like they'll go out when they got thumped by United. You have pundits saying like, they played the game the right way and all this after getting a hiding. But I still think they do. Like they're great to watch. And I think this is my bold one of the weekend. I've gone for a thriller here. So after no goals in the last two, I've gone 3-2 Leeds. I think United getting that win against Burnley. I think they're safe now. There's no hope of them falling out of the top four, and I think there's more chance of teams, let's say, falling further away from them now. But yeah, they can still say they're in a title race, I suppose, until City have mathematically done it. But I can see I'm hoping it's an entertaining game. Like tune into United an awful lot, and I don't know if I'm necessarily entertained watching them. Just pray, hope for the best, give the ball to Bruno, hope the teams come out and stand on the halfway line so they can play balls in behind. But yeah, I think this is my bold one of the predictions. So I'll go 3-2 Leeds and make up for the 2-0.
Wow, the dig at United came at the very end there, Brian. It was well hidden.
Well thought out that, yeah. Yeah, I think, as I said, hopefully a few goals in this one as well. I thought Leeds were poor against Liverpool in the first half, and then they really picked it up, and deservedly got that draw in the end from a corner. I think of that 6-2 game like earlier on in the season. That was just the maddest. Scott McTominay doing that, just doing crazy things for a few minutes, scoring bangers left, right, centre. So I think there'll be goals again, but maybe not as many as 8. But you look at United, I think their away record's a disgrace. They haven't lost, and I don't know what it's getting to now. It's mid-20s or so. I just can't see them going out and losing just purely because of that, and they just consistently find ways to win these games, even if they are playing poor for large parts of it. They still go out and get their Fernandes and in fairness to Rashford, he's picked it up massively. Like he could well be getting ahead of Sterling now in this starting 11. Like if he stays fit, like he's just megging people every week, scoring bangers and playing real well. So yeah, I'm liking him of late, and he's a great guy. So he's doing a lot for the community as well. So I went for the reverse of Rob. I went for a 3-2 United win. So flipping that. I just think that'll have enough. Hopefully Rafinha's back, even just for the match itself. Like it should be a bit of crack, but no, I can see United just will find a way to always win. They seem to. So yeah, 3-2.
I'm guessing, Sean, you're going to go the opposite again.
Well, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard with Leeds, and I definitely think Leeds they haven't got that firepower of Rafinha, because he's somebody who can attract 2 or 3 players to him and then just open space. Jack Harrison hasn't obviously really been at the same level. I think he's had a few injury problems since the start of the season. And again, it's hard to know with United. Obviously, their away record's brilliant. They just seem to pull it out the bag. Like Leeds half-time, United full-time is 14-1. Like what we've seen from both sides this year is that'll be looking at fairly decent value. It's a big couple of weeks, sort of 10, 14 days for United, especially with everything that's happened. But they play Leeds, then obviously the Europa League semi-final home and away, and they also the small matter of playing Liverpool, and probably will be one of the most interesting derbies for a while, considering where both sides are at, but also considering everything that's happened in the last few weeks. So I'll be looking forward to this and really seeing how good a side United are and how big those players can and how far Ollie has taken them this year. Because I'm firmly up to the opinion that they need a trophy to win it, and it'll be interesting how they get on. But this is a big old test for United as well. So I'd be going Leeds half-time, United full-time.
Yeah, speaking of trophies, lads, we're going to take on the Carabao Cup final here, and we'll go to you, Brian. And Sean, I kind of got me excited about this last week when he said Jose's been preparing for this game for 3 months, and I was actually like, well, actually, I'm looking forward to that. When's that match on? City Spurs, and now it's just like, wait, what? Why did they sack him a week before the cup final? Sack him after, surely.
Yeah, it's one of the weirdest decisions and one of the weirdest seconds I've seen, like you've seen in the last few years. There's the timing of it. Like obviously, people are making claims at the time that he's some hero, fought like dying on the store for the European Super League. Chaps like,
I did that for a second. I got carried away. I've watched that documentary, Amazon.
One of the good guys. One of the good guys.
Yeah, do you know an Amazon documentary again? I'd love if they were.
No, I'd love if they were. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd much prefer Jose when he's not in a job. Like he's good crack with the Sky Sports lads just filming him after he was literally packing his car, heading home after being sacked. But no, it's such a strange. I think there's some reports saying that if he won that, it's a larger payoff, or whatever the contract was. That if you had won that cup, then it's more difficult to sack him and more money to sack him. So I guess in that respect, fair enough. But just to do it 5 or 6 days before the final just seems insane. That being said, big fan of Ryan Mason. I've always enjoyed him. Like poor lad got absolutely smashed up against Gary Cahill at that time, and now he's bounced back. I had no idea he's even coaching. I just heard he's getting the job at Aston. I couldn't believe it. Look, he's a good lad. So fair play. Obviously don't want Tottenham to win anything, but I hope he can have a good stab at coaching and make a career out of it. But yeah, as for the game, like City, that semi-final was just so disheartening watching that. Like they were just terrible, and they looked just so uninterested. But I think for a final, you have to get yourself up for it. And you have to put in form. Even against Villa tonight, they're definitely not at their best. But I mean, you have to think they go out and beat Tottenham. Like if Kane's not playing, there's no way they're gonna get a result. So I went just City 3, Spurs 1. Even though, I don't know, maybe that's crazy, but yeah, 3-1 City. We'll see.
Don't doubt yourself.
Yeah.
We've James Mode in the comments saying this ain't a Premier League game, so I'll fill in the tackling sport anti-Tottenham agenda is what is real. But it's also given us an update. Thanks, Jim, that Kane will be playing. Although I'm not. I don't think that's decided yet. I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that source.
Yeah, that's not. I think we're waiting for the second source there, Rob. Fire away with Spurs Chelsea.
Yeah, so I'm here just to add what I can to the anti-Spurs agenda. Hopefully, the Mowat sources aren't wrong. Kane isn't playing, so that'll back up my prediction. But like even like what Brian was saying there, I don't like. Are these sources? Fact, like I don't know if these are. If there's any truth to these
ramblings, madman.
But sorry, yeah, like saying how poor City have been, and then I got home last night and watching Spurs, like they're so bad, like they really are poor. I mean, you take out like that kind, like it's I'd say it's almost akin to taking Bruno out of the United team when you take Kane out of it. Like there's no, like Son just looks like he's absolutely knackered. Like he looked like he's getting run into the ground under Jose. Bale, he scored a great goal last night in fairness, but like he was using this as a training season just to get fit for the Euros by his own accounts. So I did like fair play to Ryan Mason. Like again, I do like him as well. Like he got dealt a shocking hand, but he's fallen on his feet. And now I think he was coaching with the Spurs younger teams, so it's good. Like it is a jump from I don't well, like he's 29, so I don't think he has any first team experience. And for all that I like him, I think he's going to get found out on Sunday. I think there's one way to get welcome to management, and that's going up against Pep in Wembley. So I've gone 5-0 City.
Oh my God!
Going to nail my colours to the mast. Two goalless games followed by 2 5-goal games. Not quite so split, but I'm going 5-0 City. I think they're going to take the complete another piss out of them, and I hope. I really hope so. There's been a few games this year where I've been hoping for blood. City going up against United and Spurs. So I'm hoping I'll get it on Sunday. I'll go 5-0 and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, wow. Okay, Sean, I don't know where to go from there.
Maybe on the Jose one, I think it's just there obviously is, it's clear as day. There's obviously some sort of monetary gain for Tottenham out of it. I'd imagine the Sky producer, as soon as he heard the second, rang up Josie and said, "Look, here, let's get you in the studio on Sunday. You can discuss this if you like." So hopefully, although you probably would have heard by now, and Jose's a classy guy, as everyone knows. I can't believe they've sacked him. It's just the most bizarre thing. Especially the timing of it as well. It was like they were dropping a little grenade into an already lit war zone. It's just I couldn't get over it, you know. But it's hard to know. Like Tottenham have match winners, and that's what you need in a cup final. And that's why I was confident that Josie could get something out of Pep. But I agree. I mean, if Ryan Mason was to pull this off, it'd be unbelievable. He's up against probably one of the greatest coaches of all time. Someone who just predicts everything, knows what's happening, tells his players what's happening. And I think I think Tottenham could be in for a bit of a baptism of fire. But I do like Ryan Mason as well. I mean, he was on BT a couple of years ago talking, and obviously, like the lad said, got dealt an awful hand. He looks like something out of like Boyzone or one of them, you know, with the tattoos as well. But I couldn't get over. He didn't start Dele Alli. Where's all the fuss about Dele Alli not playing? So I don't know. I'd imagine Kane will play for some part. Otherwise, he'll be doing. Do you remember Ronaldo when he got injured in the Euro final and he was shadow manager? This is what I think it is. It's player power, and we're all going to be there. And
he'll go full John Terry if he's injured as well, won't he?
Yeah. I probably
100%.
claim one of the goals was his because of the 71 goal. Yeah.
It's getting a bit personal in the comments here, Brian. I won't read that out, but we'll go to you and zoom in on those lovely curtains for Aston Villa West Ham 2 games to go.
That's a nice call. Yeah. Well, West Brom, yeah. It's a derby, isn't it? I think West Buildings.
West Brom, yeah.
Villa West Brom.
Sam got absolutely spanked tonight, so he was doing well as well. Like I was thinking of the research that was coming from West Brom, and then just bent over for Leicester. So you hate to see that, but yeah, I think this game would be fairly poor Villa in the tough run of it at the moment as well. No Super Jack. I don't know if he's back. I mean, it doesn't look like he's chilling with Southgate there last night, and yeah, I don't think he's going to be playing at least this weekend. I hope he does get back soon because I don't really hope that, but I'd like to see him get in the England squad at least because he's a good lad, it looks like. But yeah, no, I think it'll be a cagey game. I went for a 1-1 draw. I was thinking Villa might nick it, but I actually they just look fairly easy. There's no Matty Cash now for that game either. No Grealish. Yeah, no, I think Fat Sam might do a number and get his point. And just a 1-1 draw. Nothing amazing going to happen. But, yeah.
Yeah, the BT commentator called Big Sam on commentary, which I thought, I don't know if you say that. Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
Probably wants to trademark it first, make a few bob off it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Liverpool trademark in Liverpool. Didn't John Henry do that before?
Yeah, he's a bad man.
Yeah,
that apology. We never actually talked about that. That was the worst thing I've ever seen. Right? The lifeless words coming out of his mouth. Oh, it's criminal.
The worst is the comments when everyone's like, "Oh, that was a great apology." Oh, Jesus.
The comments like,
announced Mbappe.
Yeah. Sign Mbappe there, pal. Look, that's all over now.
Villa West Brom, Rob.
Yeah, I realized I hadn't written down like the score. I've written down a score for each of the games to guide myself. But I think walking into the sitting room to see 3-0 halftime Leicester, any shout I was going to give for trademark Big Sam, I think that's gone out the window. Like I know Villa they're not the same side without Grealish. Like how could you be? Like it's kind of the same thing as like with Palace when you watch them without Zaha. You think like. I'm not really going to tune in, but like I think like Villa not quite to the same extent because like there are still good players. Like I really like Ollie Watkins and little Juan Iniesta as well. He's some man. So I'm gonna just based on tonight 3-0 thumping. I'm gonna go for 2-0 Villa at the weekend. You look at West Brom.
Oh, did we lose Rob? We might have lost Rob.
That sort of thing.
We'll go to you, Sean, just very quickly, and Rob will be back in a sec. Villa West Brom, quick word, because before we get to the last game.
I don't know what to say. Big Sam.
It's ruined it. Sorry to cut across, but Leicester 3-0 is kind of, and that's what you were saying there. I was the same, and then they were awful there as well.
But I think whatever about Big Sam, they beat Wolves away, and obviously this is the big derby. In the Midlands, obviously Birmingham, who are doing well, actually they're going to stay up in the Championship. But I think Big Sam will find a way of doing it and leaving a legacy. And at least they go, well, look, I beat the two biggest rivals. I mightn't have stayed up, but I beat the biggest two rivals away from home. But this was one of his first games, if not his first game, and they got absolutely battered.
Yeah, it was first game.
Yeah, and he was wearing the mask on his chin, and it was kind of. So no, I
COVID concerns, didn't he?
Yeah, his wife had COVID concerns from, but obviously money concerns as well, because he went back in and took a job. Because then he wanted to cancel as soon as he took the job. There was all this COVID scare, and he was like, calling it off for a while. But anyway, I think I don't know what the score's going to be, but I'll go Big Sam.
Right, we're going to fly through this the last game, lads, to just get this in on time. Shane's right there. Yeah, they called him Big Sam on Dan's, not BT. You get it right, so you see that. I'm not exactly watching on the TV channels. Brian, final game there. It is, who's it? Is it Leicester versus Palace?
Yeah.
How do you see this game going?
Yeah, my views change again after tonight's performance from Leicester. I was thinking a bit more like cagier and stuff, and like that Southampton semi-final against Leicester was so depressing. Like, I'm chuffed for Ralph and getting his crying and all. Like, yeah, I don't know if he was crying, but metaphorically crying. I need to see that. But I think be fewer goals. I was thinking initially after the final, I'll back them. So I went 3-1 Leicester. I think Kelechi he's just too hot at the moment to not be getting at least a brace. So 3-1 Leicester, comfortable enough against Palace.
Nice and simple, Rob.
I've actually just gone one further. I just think the facts, it's obviously a bit of recency bias. I'm just walking out after seeing Leicester thumping West Brom of all teams 3-0. But I think the fact that Vardy scored, he's got that like monkey off his back. He hadn't scored in a while, so I think he'll go one better, or two better rather. I think he'll get his hat trick on the weekend. Kelechi keep up his run of form. I'll go 4-1 Leicester. Don't really give Palace much of a squeak.
Yeah, Sean, you'd be kind of like, giving out about Palace. They always seem to somehow do enough. But yeah, quick word on this game.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games that Palace will get something from, like the Everton game. And then again, they're another side that always just seems to be playing a late evening game. They're like Wolves, like a Monday night or a Saturday night or something. But I give Palace a good old chance here.
So your worst nightmare is Wolves Palace on a Monday night then?
15 quid.
Yeah, 15 quid, yeah. Pay-per-view. Right, lads, we're there. So we're just going to do the quickest goal, a minute there. So, Brian.
What was it? There was actually real late goals in our thing last week. There's none, I think, before the 25th or something like that. I'll stick with my 11. It's serving well, 11 minute, and we'll go DCL score.
Wow. Rob, one higher, one lower?
I won't go using those dirty tactics, but I actually had DCL penned in for the first goal. I said he's gonna pop up after 4 minutes tomorrow night, so he'll get the weekend off to a flyer, and then I think it's downhill from there until City's drubbing of Spurs on Sunday. Entertaining, sandwiching both ends of the weekend.
As soon as you mentioned Calvert-Lewin, one player came into my head and was Mustafi. And obviously, if you've all seen Mustafi and Kolasinac got relegated with Schalke, and they started throwing eggs at their cars and they're trying to hound them out. So.
Is that actually real? Them running away?
Yeah.
It's down the road.
They're not Arsenal's problem anymore, but as soon as you mentioned Calvert-Lewin, Mustafi came into my head. So.
Yeah, that's it. I give Spurs a squeak on Sunday just because I'm worried about tackling sport on Monday show. If Monday show will be Punchestown, so it'll be Thursday. But yeah, thanks for listening. At Tackling Sport social media, we're going to get this in the hour, about 20 seconds. So yeah, thanks to Rob, Brian, and Sean for being on the podcast. We have a Punchestown preview coming on Monday. That'll be out Monday in your podcast feeds. We might do that live Sunday evening, depends when we're filming. But keep up to date with our social media channels, and then Thursday Premier League fan predictions. And that's it, guys. Thanks a mil. Enjoy the football, and we look forward to Spurs City because that's obviously the big game. And shout out to Spurs, and hopefully they don't lose 5-0 away to City. Good luck.
Cheers, lads.